man. I can't believe I'm regretting not watching more isekai anime. How the heck do I get back to the real world? Oh.
Pamela, are you there?
The cold chill air moves through the house. The stairs for her is narrow and straight. Her eyes peek inside. Each room a sharp place. 6 foot under. She lays. She comes my way. She lays to rise on a 6 day, 6 foot under. My dark heart, her faust and spreads out. Her voice creeps into me. 6 foot under. She She has come for me at last, cold reminder of my cruel heart, come to take me to hell, my angel, my black dahlia, 6 foot under, Charlotte. She comes my way.
She's happy now. The scent's gone. She won't cry anymore. She's gone forever.
An expert biologist, and when this handsome fellow isn't traveling across the world doing research, he's at home cooking a great meal?
But yeah, that's all true, but Sancho, where did you get that?
An excellent assistant knows how to write an excellent introduction. You got it, boss.
Or taking a long walk on the beach? Who wrote this mess?
Good evening, world, I guess. It's not Vietnam. I was going to do Vietnam, but then I was like, no, it's not Vietnam. We can't do Vietnam because that'll be, sacrilege to Robin Williams. So this is just a chill out stream. Let's do some coloring. Let's talk about some music. Let's talk about some cartoons, some movies, and some stuff, right? Just hang and be happy. I think there's a lot of I don't know, like, the last couple of weeks I've just been like finding myself distracted by everything else but being happy. I think I was at my sister's the other weekend, and I was like, I do not want to think about politics. I do not want to think about what I talk about online, or on my live streams or anything. I just want to just hang out and enjoy the presence of my family, right? And I think a lot of people don't do that, and because of that, they get tied into the whole, and I think, and myself included, right? You get tied into the whole, let me carry on working here. Give him some teeth, some white teeth. And so because you get distracted by these other things, you forget that there are things in life that you can enjoy and, have fun at. And so what I did was the political streams that we did, which was good. I really enjoyed that, but it was just like, it wasn't like looking for the things to talk about. It kind of made me feel a bit there, like, what the hell, so I unlisted the links are there for, like, if you have the link for those you can go watch them, but like I just unlisted them. And so in case you guys are wondering what happened, why where are those political streams you did the last couple of weeks? You know, it's because I just didn't find them interesting. Not interesting in the sense like I don't think that's what I want on this channel, but they are actually on the other channel, right? On the Monkey Stream channel, right? Sorry, on the Monkey King of Zealandia stream. So that's where that belongs, right? So so yeah, bit of a housekeeping there. But like I was just sitting there hanging out with my sister and just talking about like how things were, you know, what was happening in my life. Some really amazing stuff happened in my life. And you know, in the last 5 years I've been working hard. Actually almost 7 years now, because I was away for 2 years from the internet, right? I was away from like social life. I was away from all the people that I knew while I was doing my comic book store, right? Because I ran my comic store for about almost a year, I think. No, 18 months, something like that. And that wasn't it like the 14 and 15, you know, like October 14, 2014 to December. So it must have been about 15 months, 2015. And in that period, so many comic stores just shut down. And I was one of them because you just found that was during the convergence times with, whoops, excuse me. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that too loud. I had the mic stand with my Wacom tablet, which I paid $100 for, by the way, and $25 for delivery because it's got a broken switch. How's that, man? A 5K, almost like a 5K, 16-inch Wacom Syntec touchscreen for $100 because it had a broken switch, and the switch of it's outside, hanging outside of it, right on the top there. But it's a touchscreen. And so this one here, this is actually a touchscreen tablet. And so I have a normal one, which isn't a touchscreen, which is like the one before this. It's like this, it's more chunky. This is like actually like a tablet, like a, you know, I guess like an iPad, but really large. Anyway, so I think, so when I did that, like, because I've done lots of actually, let's go back to the comic store, right? So a lot of comic store closed down, and people were going, well, you know, it doesn't really matter that much because everything's going digital. But really, when you have a comic store, it's not just about selling goods, right? It's not about selling comics or manga or toys. It's about a community. It's a community for people who don't have to do sports, who don't do music, or maybe cross over into that, right? But somewhere they can hang out, somewhere they can hang out with their friends. And I noticed that a lot about my store, right? I was like, I found that like people, if I made the place a community, you know, hangout place, then people, you know, kids will come out after school and just hang out with their friends, just be safe. And parents appreciated that, right? And then parents would then like go, okay, well, you're doing this for my kid. He comes in here about 5 hours, you know, 3-4 hours after school to hang out. I'm saving how much on freaking babysitting? Really think about that, right? As a parent, if you have a safe haven place for your kids to hang out, and you're not paying babysitting, right? Because they're safe, which is like, you know, I guess the standard is around about $20, maybe $30 an hour, depending how qualified somebody's babysitter is. You know, if you're a teenage, I mean, like if you're like, you know, what's like about 12 years, 13 and under, whatever, 15 and under, you don't really need, you need a bit more like care. But if you're not, then it's okay, right? Or as if you're a baby nanny, right? Then you need a lot of like costs. But when you go to like a hangout space, which is safe, and your kids can go hang out with their own friends, and they can feel safe because, you know, even if strangers come there, their friends are there, right? So they can, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, do I do the bricks for this? So this is from a comic book that we're doing called, that I've written, that's called Templeton. This is issue 2. Issue 1, I've already done the color flats on. We haven't actually done the we've completed issue 1 and 2 artwork. Issue 1 is completed with all the color flatting, but I've realized this guy comes across really dark on different screens. So where is it? This one here. I went across and tried to make him lighter. So I got to figure out his light, whether it's too light or in between, right? So I've got these skin tones. Where is it here? Yeah, so I've got these skin tone palettes all across here, where you can see all these different tones of skin, right, from light to dark. And I got to figure out what's the good one for him, and then use that going forward. But he's kind of like, he's not really fully white, and he's not fully dark, right? And so it's kind of a kind of light caramel, but not too light. So like you've got these characters here. Let me get away from that one. So you got these two characters, right? So he's kind of like bit darker than him, but not as dark as her, right? So yeah, and so these are the two characters, Mere and Paul. Mere is basically Mary and Mary, Mere, and so Paul, he's just a local, a kid. They're around about 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and they run away from home, right? And we introduce them in issue 1, and then later on issue 2, we look more into their life, and there's a crossover between that and this horror, heaven and hell story, or supernatural horror that's going on. This is really it has nudity in it. It has graphic violence, so I'm classing it as an R18 because of that. I guess we could do it at M15, but I think because of the gore and violence, and I just thought it would be better if just put it as R18 book. So we'll be releasing this later this year. We've got a couple more, quite a few things planned for before we even get to this. So I'm trying to get as many of the works done going forward for our for our studio, which is Plunge Comics New Zealand. Was it? No, Plunge Studios, but it's basically Plunge Comics New Zealand. And back to the comics, whatchamacallit, the comic, come down here, thank you, comic stores. I know a lot of people, like for me, when I was like planning to run the comic store, and we're almost going back a decade now, right? 2014, 2016, 2015, right? But when I was planning that store all through 2014, I did research of all the comic stores, all the top comic stores, right? That I could find, that I could Google. Hey, Google, what is the top stores in the world, and why are they, top comic stores in the world, and what makes them good comic store, right? And so the one that I found was in Australia. Out of all the comic stores in the world, was one in Australia, right? Our Cuzzy Bros across the ditch had a comic store that was better than anybody else's in the world. And that was because that comic store focused on an environment of community and welcoming to both girls and boys. And what I mean by that is that if you're coming in from after school and you've run around all day at school and you're a dude, you stink, right? Like, you kind of like body sweat. You've been hanging out and fighting, wrestling, whatever you have, bull rushes, we call it in New Zealand, tag, whatever, sports day. And so you come in, and young teenage boys aren't really very hygienic. And as we found out with the internet, so on a lot of grown-ups. But one of the things they said was that always have a nice smelling environment in your store, right? That when people walk in, it smells nice. So if you have guys in there for hours and hours after school, and they've just come in from school, and they've been hanging out and you know, like I said, being really physical and they're sweating. When the girls from after come in after school to hang out and look at some manga or look at some, pop culture stuff or hang out with their friends or their boyfriends, the smell is going to put them off, right? And this is not something haven't said before, but it's something that like I want to talk about because in regards to comic stores, right? And a lot of people either go full on, it's a merchant store retail, we're all about just the sales, right? Or they go in, it's all about the community, and there's nothing in between, So I think you have to have an environment of welcoming everybody because, and I don't mean like, you gotta like, intense shifter, a sheep dips pit in the front of the store. Well, I would say I actually had a air freshener in the under the counter, and the kids knew that when they came in, if I smelt that that they smelt, and also a deodorant spray. So I go, hey dude, spray yourself. Also, spray this over your shoes. All right, air freshener over your shoes. And I had like 10, 15 regulars in there just about every afternoon, right? 10 to 15 every afternoon. And it just made everybody just happy. Like nobody was like, oh, what the hell's that smell? Ew, gotta go outside. And also, so there was a picnic table outside as well. And so you could just go hang out there and, eat your snacks, whatever, drink, I had chocolate bars and stuff and chips and just, nothing that you had to heat up or anything, or that you have to worry about like with food, what is it called? Food regulations, right? So cans of drinks, bottles of drinks, and then like chips and chocolate bars, right? So something just for them to snack on while they're there, and that also helps with the bit of a couple of bucks in the till. So I found that and that's because, like I said, you got to research anything. Anytime you're gonna start a business or anything like that that's got to do with money and people, you have to research what it is that you want to get out of it, right? And figure out whether what's your point of having it there, right? I mean, business is all about, hey, you got to try to make some money. Yeah, sure, but you want people to come back. You don't want to like buy the $10, $20 book or $30 book and never ever come back, right? And so you want to keep things where they come back and they hang out with their friends. And let's give that some brown paper instead. There we go. Bit of a difference. And they can, feel safe, feel welcomed, and a pleasant environment. And I'm really saddened that like comic stores are closed, right? So many of them. I was, I think it was yesterday. I was watching Lesmet's stream today as well. But like yesterday, I was watching his stream, and he's talking about like, I can't remember what he was talking about. Oh yeah, we're talking about like how comics, and this is why I'm talking about the store, is that how comics companies rely, like the mainstream comics company relies on the store to be the customer. It's not you, the fan, who's the customer of DC and Marvel. It's the store. It's the store that loses the money. It's the store that has to, come up with the funds to actually purchase from Marvel and DC and all the other companies, right? But like at the end of the day, it's really the comic store that carries all that all the stress, the long nights, the long days, the waking, uh, the sleepless nights, saying how I'm going to pay the bills because I got to pay 2 months in advance, and it's just really, really stressful when you're in business, especially in comics, to be able to support yourself as well as be able to pay the bills to the mainstream, suppliers like the top five. And that's why you see a lot of them just stick to what sells and nothing more, because they can't afford to buy anything else. And then when you have junk coming out of the mainstream, and then and something that Lesman said, and I think it was KSS that said in this live stream chat yesterday, that creators, artists, writers were fighting with fans, right? About what the fans were saying, this is not cool. And since 2015, because of that whole, all new, all Marvel, whatever, some crap that was happening with replacing all the females. And I don't want to go rehash that, but I want to just, because it's just been done to death, right? And there's one thing I get frustrated with when streams just talk about the same shit over and over again. And even here, I don't want to talk about that, about stores, but I want to talk about how, like, it affects the person behind the counter, and why, and eventually, where's this freaking, is it this one? Yeah, there it is. Something about the green for this. Actually, let's make it some stroke gray. And so, because of that frustration, not many comic stores survive, like, after 2-3 years, because the support isn't there, right? Even when you can look up online, and during that time, a lot of comic stores were saying, look, you need to change this, man. Stop fighting the friggin' fans, and stop giving fans what they don't want, right? And when I was, like, back in 2018, I think I was doing radio. Like, when I first came back into away from my sabbatical for 2 years, because I was depressed for 2 whole years, right? After having to close my store, which was my comic store, which was my dream. And like, when your dream dies, it's really tough to get out of it. I mean, wake up from it again, get back on your feet, as they say. So it took me 2 years to come back into the real world again after closing my store down in 2015. And oops, there we go. Had the wrong tool. And so, lost my thought. Apologies. Oh yeah. So, lots of articles, a lot of interviews were done where comic stores were saying, dude, please change. Stop fighting with the fans. Stop giving them what they don't want, because it's us that's suffering. You guys are fine. You guys just gonna carry on writing your own, putting out crap. But we're in the stores. We're the ones, your customers. The customers aren't, the fans aren't the customers. We have to pay the bills to bring your comics in, right? And where's the lighter gray? I'll go with that for the time being, and hope. Actually, that should be the concrete color, I think. A lot of times I go back and change this according to what I want, what looks better. But the thing is to have the colors blocked, right, at least, and then that way I can change it according to whatever I want later. So, but they didn't listen, and guess what happened, right? In that 10 years time, since 2015 to 2025, let me show you. And this, I checked this out while the guys were talking in the chat just at Lasmat's stream. That's Lasmat Films. I'll try to get the link later. I went on, where was it? Let me, I was looking at other stuff about business as well, so I got to go back up at Grok and find out where I said asked a question. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hold on. Let's get this here. Is it? Where are you? Gosh. Oh yeah, here you go. So the question was, all right, did I ask Grok? I said to Grok, I said, hey, what is the, you know, what's the sales, what's the dollar sales in 2025 of mainstream comics and manga, right? And so let me show you. It is double, right? Double that of comics. All right. So 4.4 billion to 2025 to there. And this is what happens when you don't listen to your fans. To the people who actually buy the comic, and then the people who actually sell the comic, right? Look at the huge numbers. This is how you let your competitors steal your business. Look at the numbers on that. It's 2.2 billion. That's a record high. Domestic, 4.4 billion. And then global, 10.19 billion. And it's gotten so that they, you know, that is true, Shifter, right? He says, I still think that the digest size and layout is a key. Yes and no. I think, see, why why manga wins is because of the chapter uploads, right? Weekly chapter uploads, which really kills the creators. To be honest, mangakas, right? We call ourselves comic creators, but mangakas, right? Japanese comics creators, they're overworked, they're stressed out, they die young, and so the weekly uploads are crazy because you got to put out those weekly uploads every week. If you don't, some other dude's going to come and take your spot, right? And so they're under pressure. Let me just put this up here because I want to show you guys. There's two different something was playing in the background because I got to teach myself OBS because I want I want the streams to be a bit more snazzy. I want to have like 2-3 different, different what you call it, what is that called? Video clips showing at the same time, so I can be working here and then I can also show you the screen, and then also have myself on there talking, right? That sort of thing, whatever. So this is our manga on Webtoon, minus a few pages because you know, because it's a mature comic and they don't want a couple of pages in, so they took a couple of the pages out. Right, they deleted them, and I can show you there in the dashboard. So you can see here removed. Right, removed. That's 1, 2, 3. Plus, there's a double page in there, so it's like a bit more than that. So about 4 or 5 pages were removed from this. Yeah, I tried so many times. Look at that, all removed. You know, it's kind of like, I guess you could say love scenes, sex scenes, whatever. But what happens is that a lot of manga gets put on sites and shared weekly, right? And so you got weekly updates, a couple pages, whatever. I think it's about like maybe 7, 11, depends. But it's stressful, dude, to be able to do that, right? And so because of that, you're gonna have like stuff like this, like for people to read. We got panels, right? This is an entire page here. This is one whole page, right? So we're just cut up to be like our comic, cut up so you're able to read it just by little clips from the entire page, which is what I learned to do from webtoons when we last year, across the last 6 months or so, when I was doing our Tomas, my artist, and our the what you call it, the tortoise manga. And so that kind of like having learned how to do that, I could see, like, even after having friggin' created the pages and how to be able to do that, how stressful it is. Like, it's, you got to like redo everything again. But for an artist, he's got to draw whatever pages he's supposed to do per chapter on let me see how many chapters they do that. And it all depends on the book, right, that they're writing, because they're going to make it to a takuban. I think it's takuban, which is like the volumes, which how many pages is it? Let me see. I'm reading a manga right now called Kara-chan isn't scary, which is like, it's Kara-chan wa kawakunai kunai, and it's it's right now it's my favorite anime manga, because it's about a little girl who who can see ghosts. It's like an exorcist, right? And let me show you some of that art off that. I'm hoping to get the manga itself when it comes out, but this is being able to, where are we here, right? So how much do you know about Kaya, right? So you can see here there are like the what is it called, the shading and stuff. It's inbuilt tools, right? These are digital tools, and that sort of shortens the workload when you do this. But still, you still got to draw the friggin' characters, right? And sometimes some of the 3D assets are used because it's manga. And here's the thing about manga: the readers don't care that you use 3D assets, right? They don't care, because they understand that the creators are under huge stress to get out weekly, right, chapters. And if you're late, those same friggin' fans will turn on you, and it's kind of sad. And I think this is why for me, I'm very particular about like how I feel about being a creator myself. And being a writer and working on my own work and working with artists from around the world, I understand, the particular differences between different artists from different countries, right? And that sort of allows me to, be a more rounded person when it comes to being someone who manages a studio and manages a company, to understand how people work. But that still doesn't mean that you just let people be lazy because, hey, such and such. And I think comic creators, and this is why I wanted to talk about that, is that a lot of the things that happen in manga are often chosen by the fans. I learned this back in 2018 when I was talking about earlier about when I was doing radio, because when I was doing radio, my co-host on the radio was an autistic kid. It was about 20 years, maybe 15, 20 years younger than me, right? Who's just into anime and manga hard out. And so he, the whole idea of the Shonen Jump and all that, when you release a first chapter, they have a little, slip of paper that says, what did you think about this new one that just came out? Give us your feedback. What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it? Which character did you like? And then they go off from that, right? They send that back to the artist or the creator. Go, hey, this is the feedback we got. What do you think? Do you want to take this on board, or to make, is it worth listening to? And it's, in the end, it's up to the, it is up to the creator to say, nah, yeah, nah, okay, maybe a little bit here, maybe a little bit not there, So let me go back up here to answer the Shifter's intense Shifter saying, unless you are selling covers on spec. What do you mean by that? Is that you're talking about variant covers, right? Where you go, like, that's the thing with manga. I don't even know if they do variant covers. I'm not that, because, like, I guess maybe on reprints, right? So Shifter says to adapt to what sells. To adapt to what sells, do it Noam style. Digest size should sell. People like pocket sized books. Yeah, and when I was a kid, right, like all like Conan books are like novellas, right? If you go back and check out their pocket books, right? That's what they used to be called, pocket books. And the thing is that in the rest of the world, especially in Japan, I should say, manga isn't treated with disdain the way comics are in the West. How many times have you had comics we say, oh, it's for kids, isn't it? The only story that I've written that could be classed for kids is Incredible, right? Which is we've got issue number 2 coming out because we've completed it. It's a bit delayed because I wanted every piece of that work done before we hit out to Kickstarter, because I don't want to make put extras in after the fact, like we did like with the other one, which is like, oh, we offered like characters in draw yourself, get drawn into the comic book yourself, right? But this is issue 1, right? Went out, and we offered so much stuff, and in the end, I was like, every time you offer more, it just cuts into, I guess, in the profit. And in the end, for me, profits are just to basically be able to create more work. It's not to put some money in my pocket. It's just to create more work. and really to pay the artist, right, and the colorist. That's it. And so, because that's all I care about is that that the creators, the artist, the team gets paid, because I'm the writer. I don't really have to worry about anything, in a sense, because I just want my work to be shown to people, right, to get it out there. So this is the issue 1, links in the chat, but issue 2 is coming out, right? So if you guys can, yeah, you can see the what's that? Check it underneath. It's going to come out. Actually, let me change that, because that's for our mature comics page. So this is the link, right, for where are we? What I'm looking at, there we are. So if you go to this page, that's where you can follow. It's going to go there. How does that work? Hold on. Because the Rising Sun Comics is who's publishing, Incredible, and taking care of our Kickstarter, right? Because I'm useless at Kickstarters. Because there's a lot of planning you got to do and everything. I'm good at trying to promote it, promote it and such, but like putting it together, I'm not really good at it. So I always need help doing that. But here's a link for that, for the profile page, that you can go and find issue 2 soon when it gets out, ready to go. And while I'm just here, let me cruise over to our Plunge NZ page, which is where we're going to be putting out the tortoise, and of course Howler, which has been completed. I'm just waiting on a spoiler cover, because I wanted to do something different, a little different, and so like kind of an art piece, a cover that's between between pages kind of thing. And so that's the link there for that, for our mature page on mature comics page on Kickstarter. All right, I can remove that and back to work. Yeah, so one thing, so the comics, that's the difference between manga and comics. In comics, you don't listen to feedback, right? There is no place to send your feedback. There used to be where you could like send a letter to the editor, which I did, by the way, one time only, and it had to do with Constantine. And it was printed, and I have that, that comic. I think it was like 275 or something like of Constantine. And maybe not, but I can't remember. But I do have a copy. I actually I didn't realize they had printed it, and then when I did see that they had printed it, I went hunting for it. Because Constantine, like even before Batman, Constantine was my favorite character for a long time there. But one of the things is that, as you know, and if you're a fan, you know that over time the characters take on a life of their own. And so maybe no, it's too close to the brick color there. No, let's go with that. Still not good. Let's go really light. No, now it looks like friggin' grayed out or something. Where's my skin tones? All right. Skin tones up. Yeah, let's leave it with that. Actually, I'm going some blue. Yep, that'll do. So, with comics, with all the friggin' publisher meet store symposiums that they used to do, right? I don't know if they still do them, But that the comic store was able to tell the mainstream comics creators, hey, this is what's working, this is not what's working, right? We have people come in who buy the comics, tell us to our faces what they like and what they don't like. So if you're not listening to the comic store, you're actually hurting their business. And so if if you continue going to hurt their business, after a while they're just going to go, well, what's the point of trying to like stay in business if we're going to keep bleeding? And here's what I found is that within 4 months, 3 to 4 months of a brand new comic book being out, if it hasn't already sold, it's going to end up in the US. It's called the dollar bin, right? But in New Zealand, in the $2 bin, the $3 bin, because comics in New Zealand basically are sold for about $10 to $18 on average, right? So if a book is about $4.99, it ends up being around $15 New Zealand, right? So about 3 times the price. And so if a store is selling a $15 book at $5, they've just lost $10 profit. And they've probably barely covered their cost. And the sad thing is that sometimes they'll never be able to get that back once that book is gone. And then whoever's buying that book will go sell it, online or something like that, and whatever. Because most of the time the comic store doesn't have the, because it's a one-person job, right? It's a one person who owns it. And the sales aren't that great to be able to be supporting 2-3 people, right? Okay, yeah, it's the same. It's going to look like it's the same color. Dang it. So I think that's the right color for that. So what I'll do is change the color of this. Nope. All right, selected the friggin' whole thing. 1 second here. There we go. To grab any other colors. Nope. It's cool. So and that's the difference between there's a major difference between manga and comics, right? Where in Shonen Jump they're able to test what's going to work and what isn't going to work, right? Before it gets to the volumes and volumes of, and also help the editors are there to help the friggin' mangaka, right? They're there to help the mangaka write a book that's going to sell millions, not 100,000, right? Millions of copies around the world. Shifter was talking earlier about like the pocket-sized books. I actually bought the Batman. I think it's 3 books. I bought the 3 Batman books, Justice League books, the Justice League manga books. Right? I haven't read them, but I got them because I want to see what it was like art-wise. Because this is where they try to like join the enemy, right? Or the competition, I should say. I wouldn't say enemy, but I guess at the stage it is the enemy manga, right? Where DC Comics and Marvel Comics try to join, is that it? Yeah, that's it here. So DC Comics and Marvel Comics try to join the competition. So I bought these to check out what they were like. It just didn't appeal to me because it's like, well, it's manga versions of Batman, right? And it just, so I think I've got all 3 of these, and it just didn't like do it for me because I don't want to see manga versions of comic books. I want to see, you know, manga, new, I guess, new superheroes made specially for manga. But then what's the point of that? Because you've already got My Hero Academia, right? An entire huge work, right? I think I've just finished or something like that, which is all superheroes, and which is probably better written that's than a majority of modern comic books. And this is basically DC saying, well, we can do manga too, guys. Look, we can do, we can make just, so make just as good manga. It's like, yeah, but you're not known for manga. Just do comics and do it better, right? And go back to what worked, which was tell good stories, character-based stories, not changing what they're about. Just go back to what worked, and stick with that. And let manga do manga, right? Manga artists do manga, do what they do best, and you do what you do best. But because at the end, when you like, do what the other guy's doing, you're just following, you know, you're basically just copying them at that stage, and it's no point doing that because you look like you're losing, and people will know that you're grifting. And at that, see if I make it a green can. There's a New Zealand beer which is called Steinlager, and it's the lid should be green, and it's like won so many lager competitions around the world, at beer competitions, whatever I think it is, that they told him to stop, like entering. Okay, I think. Do I need to change anything here? No, it's here we go. Give him a gray hat. Maybe. Yeah. There we go. I put it like a back. I put usually. I mean, like if you're a color flatter, you don't do this anyway. You don't have to do backgrounds like this, right? But if you want, I guess I want to do this sort of like to change like the from like here you got the spiritual level, the demons and angels having a spat, and then here you got a normal human life and normal human life. But I want like a change in time and kind of like show like it's a between the two. Maybe I sucked at it, but we'll see. Because it's still going to be handed to the colorist to finish off the tones and stuff like that and shadings to make it work. I mean, to lift up the, make it more three-dimensional. So I did the same here with this one here, where I went and did the color because I wanted to show what I wanted to show the colorist that this is this is what I want. You don't have to worry about doing the back, right? So even to here we got purple and so on. But, let me save that because I'll end up closing it, not saving it. I think we who use I guess who are it was just trying to say for me there, who are using crowdfunding. It's a huge challenge because, you know, unless you're a big name, you're never going to make, money to live off. So it's like more for us, it's just a passion project, and it's a hobby sort of thing to actually get our work out. And that's what drives most of us in indie comics, is to basically just create work. Because we're not, and I think at the end of the day, most of us, if we're honest, we just want to have you guys, read what and enjoy, hopefully, what we're putting out there. And nothing else really. And maybe talk about it, maybe have us on your streams talk about what we're doing, if you have a channel, or if you know someone's got a channel, right? Because at the end of the day, the way things work is the way it used to always work, and it's always worked, which is word of mouth. I was trying to figure out, here we go, I missed that, a little skin tone there of this demoness. I think this is called Lucille. Oh, this character, I think it's like, this is like stuff I've written about 4 years ago. And the other thing here is I got to put some gray bits in here to, like these little things here, to make it like it's chipped. All right, so it's not all just one tone. So the bricks have been broken and stuff like that. But yeah, I was trying to figure out how to do the fire, the flames here. So I thought, I gave up. I just made these two tones. I said, well, we'll let the colorists do the rest, do the shading and stuff. Just realized maybe if I do this here, that could be her, her waistcoat or dress bit, to go with the bikini top. The other thing was here, it's shrinking down, like she's coming down from this huge size from the previous page to this. And what I've done here is I've jumped from like all the pages that had these two characters in, like these two, and then I'm going to go into the demons and angels, because wherever they appeared, I wanted to get their skin tones all done. Right, you got this one here where, this guy is this guy here, right? And so that's him, and he's over here. Get him, and that's his hand, and so on. That's a meeting. So I want to get that out of the way. The stuff that's happening, early on. I mean, sorry, that's happening between these characters, these human characters, before we go into the spiritual characters, right? The supernatural characters. And then I'll go in here and do some darker chips or lighter chips, something like that. And what I mean by that is like go in here and go like this, right? To kind of like differentiate between, the broken, cracked bricks here. So it adds a bit more three-dimensional dimension to it. I've been looking at some, because we're going to be doing this art show streams on a regular basis on Fridays in New Zealand, US time, and then Saturdays New Zealand time, so that we can, talk about things that are coming out, that are already out, that are really good, like that are enjoyable, right? That we can actually have fun watching and talk about, rather than concentrating on how bad this is and how bad that is. And so that was the whole point of the upcoming, weekly Friday streams, art shows, whatever it's called, monkey art show stream. And so that way, so I can introduce you to guys that what I've been enjoying and watching, right? Be it manga, anime, cartoons. Like I was watching this one yesterday called, that's old, right? It's really, I think, how old is that? I think it's about, because I was looking at cartoons and new cartoons, independent made cartoons, and there is someone had put up the entire series, right, of Bob, of God, the Devil, and Bob on YouTube. So you can actually watch this really cool kind of, I guess slightly mature, cartoon. I'll show you a bit of it so you can, it's about a dude with a wife and two kids. I don't know what a 7th grade kid is, maybe about 12 or something like that, or 14. And then also, his younger kid who's like about 6 years old or something, and their struggles, right? And so he's got to, like, God's basically told him, that I'm going to end the world, and you're the here we go, that you're the last hope for mankind, right?
Hi, God here. So I was all set to destroy the world when I thought, hey, I'm not that kind of God. If just one soul could show me it's worth saving, I'd spare it. Being a sporting deity, I let the devil choose. So, folks, meet your last chance for salvation.
Wow. This is good beer.
Oh, boy. Well, folks, I wouldn't make any long-term plans.
You watch a bit of this, or a bit.
You're gonna love this place. It's got the best Greek food in Detroit.
We're doing dinner. I thought we were supposed to meet here already having eaten. Your girl never gets it right.
The devil's got
I know,
English
she's
accent.
the niece of a friend of mine. That's going to be a tough conversation. What the? It closed. The whole block's boarded up. Aha, there's the culprit. They're putting in one of those damn mega stores.
Oh, come on. Those places are great. They have everything. I bought a power drill and got my back adjusted in the same aisle.
They killed the soul of the neighborhood.
And did I mention I got my nails done? French tips.
Something like this can depress the whole community. I can feel it. I'm going to have to do something to lift their spirits.
Oh, no. You're not going to launch another one of your lame-ass Life's a Miracle campaigns, are you?
Detroit needs a shot in the arm.
Oh, why don't you get your little friend to take care of it for you?
Mr. Peanut?
What?
Never mind.
I'm talking about Bob. You know, your last best hope for mankind.
What's your problem with Bob?
I don't have a problem with Bob. He's nothing to me. He's a cipher. He's less than nothing. The man could show me a little respect. Ever since you chose him, he has no fear of me. I mean, I'm the Prince of Darkness, for God's sake. Who's darker than me?
No one.
Really?
Absolutely. You're evil, you're vile, you're hateful.
Am I? Sorry I snapped. I just need to hear it sometimes.
That's what Jordan said. But try telling Brittany that. She is so not self-aware. Even Jordan noticed. We had this race in gym class, and Jordan kept teasing us. So Brittany and I were both dead last, and Miss Stockwell is all, "Don't you ladies have any pride?" And we're like, "Not really." Jordan says she's totally gay. Where's gay?
Like your Aunt Rachel.
I'm late for the bus. Did you know Jordan talks to the bus driver? Why would anyone do that? Well, I guess that's Jordan.
So, Jordan.
Oh?
Jordan? Jordan, your daughter just mentioned him 23 times in a row?
Maybe it's someone from her school.
That's brilliant, Bob.
Well, she's a student. Following that lead.
Shut up, Bob.
Can you hand me my warm jacket? Thanks.
Wait! Don't walk away from me! I'm talking about respect. I mean...
So basically, I hope, you guys can check it out if you want, but I can't remember when, actually I didn't even check, right, to see when it was made. But let me see, what year was it made? It's definitely made in the 90s, if anything. When you could just make good stuff and people would either like it or not like it. And a lot of times people liked it because it was just, fun. 2000s wasn't even 90s. So that's 26 years ago. Wow. How many episodes? 13 episodes. So it's not that long. So it's basically like a friggin', a season of anime, right? 13 episodes. Wait. Darn it. I was good. How did I grab that? Let's go there. Minus. There we go. Oh, it came down from this one. Annoying. So, yeah, check it out if you like. I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, what I noticed now while looking at all the recent animes, not animes, cartoons, which they call mature, right? Under the similar to Bob, right? In that age bracket, which is like 15 and over cartoon viewers, right? All of them have swearing. All of them. Yet God, the Devil, and Bob, right? Which is the link is over here for that in the chat, right? There is no swearing in that. And that was 26 years ago. But now every single cartoon they put out, even like what people call call outs, right? Even indie which we're going to show on like a couple of the trailers I'll show, pilot, whatever I'll show on Friday show with Tim, is that they all have swearing, man. It's like, dude, it's like, okay, every next episode, let's do like how much swear words we can use in this episode and so on. And it's like, the reason a lot of these early so-called mature stories worked, animated series worked, is because they kind of made it so that you could watch it with your entire family, and that gave those wait, there we go, and I can get rid of that. I was trying not to grab the gray, but grab just the brown ones and bricks. And because of that, they didn't have to put swearing. They made sure not to put swearing in it, which made it you could sit down and watch it with your mom and dad, like like Simpsons and stuff. Why do you think Simpsons became so big? It's because parents were able to leave their kids there to watch it, even though it dealt with some mature content or themes, I should say, not content, but themes. Bad dad, bad family members and all that stuff. Even like Family Guy, no swearing, yet they still dealt with some, pretty full-on topics. But everybody that's like doing a Cal Art type, brand new friggin' YouTube channel pilot episode for a new animated show is basically just a whole bunch of swearing, and so it's like it feels like you're watching the same stories with just different characters. It was just weird. It was like, why are you guys? What's wrong with being You know, how can you not be creative enough to realize that you're doing everything the same as everybody else is doing? Like, you can go check it out. Like, I mean, I am going to show some on Friday show because I want Tim's opinion on it. I don't want to just give you my opinion, right? It's kind of boring when you just hear one person's opinion on it, because I might be wrong, and that's, and that's a good place to like be wrong, because someone's actually has a different viewpoint on it, and even I might be wrong, and it might change my thoughts on it with a different viewpoint. But yeah, I just found like these new season of pilot episodes, or whatever they're calling it, with animatronics, animatrix, something like that, where they just draw, without total filling out. It's like sketchboard, storyboards of moving pencil drawings, whatever, ink drawings, which hasn't been colored in or which isn't finalized, to show you what they're going to do with it. And there's so much you can do with the story without having to resort to sexual content, or especially with animation. Animation is such a cool way to reach a huge audience, man. That's why manga is winning so much, because every time they get they realize they've got a hit on their hands, they basically just go, all right, green light this for an animated series. I was on today's LA's Met stream. They're talking about like 2000 AD and talking about Judge Dredd mainly. And I just said, like, I grew up reading Judge Dredd when I was 8 years old. It's basically this comic book series about authoritarianism, right? And it's basically trying to build a world back to structural basis after a nuclear friggin' situation where it's just a lawless society. So they had to go even overboard with how they treated criminals, because the criminals had nuclear weapons, right? And they had cannons, and they didn't have they didn't care about people and such, and they just did anything they wanted. And so reading that when you're 8 years old, and it wasn't just like Just Dredd, right? It's that entire universe, and it covered so many short stories. It's like Shonen Jump, right? And this is why 2000 AD is still so good, because it's like Shonen Jump. We have different stories. You have a detective story, you have a futuristic story about mutants, you have story about soldiers like Rogue Trooper, you have stories about vampire like Red. Wait, what was her name? Wait, let me. Dang it! It was the one which Alan Moore created. Let me screw up. Where are we? Hold on. Let me see if I can use this. I've never used this mic thing. Angel, who was the vampire alien character? Oh, it was called Dunham Red. Okay, I just remembered. Damn it. Yeah, can you tell me about the character Dunham Red created by Alan Moore? Yeah. Like, while I was going, who was the alien character, my brain went, it's Dunham Red. Yeah. So let me see what it's saying. So actually, I didn't even press the go button. I've never used this mic thing, like this volume, like, speaking into it. So I'm reading my my transcription here. Goes, Angel, who was the angel, vampire angel character? It was called Dynamo Red. No, it wasn't. It was called Dynamo Red. He's now there's a wait. No, I'm not thinking Dynamo Kid. Uh, what was the origin of Durham Red? I think it's Durham Red. It's such a cool character, by the way. If you guys never read it, good story. Okay, what was the origin of Durham Red in 2080? Yeah, I think there was also it was supposed to be 3 volumes, and then there was a fallout with Alan Moore, and so they didn't do the 3rd volume for ages, which would be the conclusion to the story in 2080 comics. It was such this is what I mean. Like that's why for us colonials, right, British colonies here in New Zealand and Australia and what have you, we got to have that on a weekly basis at our local bookstore. In my little town of I don't know, about 5,000 people, we had it every week when I was a kid. And my neighbor, my friend Regan, his dad, they had business there and down, and he used to, that was his weekly thing, his subscriptions, whatever. He'd get it weekly, and I got to read it. So Dunham Red first appeared in 1987, man. I don't even remember this character when I was reading this, but I do remember the Strotium dogs, right? So Dunham Red is which is part of Strotium dogs is where is it? Who's the blue character? Rogue Trooper. And Rogue Trooper was my favorites. So in story origin background, Dunham Red is a mutant. Let me actually show you guys what the character looks like. This could be a full character. Are you not going to show me? All right, come on. There we go. It's a mutant vampire, right? That's her there. So she's a mutant born in the post-apocalyptic 22nd century after the Great Atom War of 2150, where Strontium-90 fallout caused widespread mutations. Muties are oppressed, forced into ghettos, and despised by normal humans. She grew up in the Milton Keynes mutant ghetto on Earth. Even among mutants, she was an outcast due to her unique genetic mutation, a vampiric condition. It gives her an overwhelming bloodlust, superhuman strength, ability, regenerative powers, enhanced senses, and a very long lifespan. Her real name was originally Lucy, revealed in a 1995-2080 sci-fi special with Dunham as her married surname and Red, possibly a nickname or alias. There was a debate amongst creators between Durham Red and Chelsea Blue early on. So Durham Red is much better, right? Rather than Chelsea Blue. But yeah, it's such a... And the great thing about... And this is similar, to why, why characters live long, and longevity, you remember them because they've had so much, not only they've been around long, but because people actually enjoyed them. and they watched them, and I mean, they read them like, like I did, and grew up. And the thing was, like, when you're a kid, you forget a lot of stuff because you're reading stuff all the time, and you don't remember what you read, but sometimes certain stories will stick in your head, and certain characters will stick in your head. I actually read maybe about 3 years ago, the 3 volumes as such that were out, because I just got so tired of comics. It was like same old crap over and over again. Which world are we destroying today? Who's the latest enemy in this story arc? And I'm like, let's go back and read some good old stuff that I might have missed out on, which was like and so I went through and found a list of all the stories, completed stories, from 2000 AD, and there's there is a Wikipedia of all that, which you can go. Let me get a link for you guys. 2000 AD story. I think it's called. I had it saved up for me a while back. Stories. The stories or character. I think something like. So like every single story that had ever been published, and the complete issues and volumes that are in, or episodes, whatever have you, because these were like about 30-page, maybe 30 to 40, 48 pages. Yeah. Well, the specials were like 48 pages. The regulars, I think, were about maybe 32. And there's about 2,500 of them as of last year. Because it's still going since 1970s, right? It first came out in 1977. I was only about, 4 years old back then. Wasn't even living in New Zealand at that time. I don't even think I knew what a comic book was then. But there it is. This is the one I was after, the list of stories, right? So if you ever want to, figure out which story you might be interested in to start reading, there is this Wikipedia list, right, that people have over the years, I guess. They put it in. So ABC Warriors, this is what we used to be called, the ABC Warriors, as a young kid. My friend Regan and I, we had our like a little tree hut, right, that we built. So you got all these stories that have ever been released. So it's not all just to Judge Dredd, right? DR and Quinch is a comic strip about 2 delinquent alien dropouts, right? Created by Alan Moore and Alan Davis. You got Dan Dare, of course, British sci-fi fiction comic hero. It started in Eagle, then basically came into, I think they bought it. Of course, there's, all alphabetical, right? Flash, ongoing story by Pat Mills, who, of course, wrote a whole bunch of John Constantine stories in Constantine comic book, right? And the first 300 issues, that is. He wrote about, and here's the thing, right? A lot of writers of 2000 AD, right? When they started Vertigo, they went over to DC to work on that, like Garth Ennis, Alan Moore, and what have you. So there's a lot of British quality writers who cut their teeth in 2000 AD were able to go and work in 2000, like Swamp Thing, right? Of course, Alan Moore made it like a hit, and it was like one of the top early American horror series, right, for DC Comics. And still people talk about something from Alan Moore. You got Judge Dredd, of course, Death, of course, Genocide Division, and Anderson, who was like the sidekick to Dredd and Dredd 3D movie, which is one of the greatest live action movies of all time, adaptations of comic books of all time, Dredd 3D. And if you disagree with me, fine. But you should have seen it at the at the cinema and with 3D glasses on. It was magic. You know, you got stuff like Missionary Man. It's a where is it? I think it's a cowboy. Frank Quietly, of course. You guys probably know that, right? So you go here. Establish that tall preacher Kane rides a cursed Earth. So it's like a cursed Earth is where the mutants, the nuclear fallout, and so he's the missionary man, right? And there's so many, like, you've got so many great stories in here, like little short serials. Roadbusters, remember that well. Short of the Dead, adapted into a comic book twice. And of course, my favorite, Slain, right? This is highly recommended. If you know, I highly recommend, just because of Beasley's amazing art. But Pat Mills did great, really did great work on this as well. But early on, like it says here, right, it was drawn by his and then his then wife, Angela Kincaid. But then Simon Beasley took over, and just magic. Tyranny Rex. So it's not just Dread, and this is what made it's what made 2000 AD such a good. So there's a link that you guys can check out in the story. All the different stories. I mean, there's thousands of stories over friggin', what are we at, 50 years? Next year it'll be their 55th. Or is it? Would it be 60th? Wait, hold on. Let me get my calculator. I'm terrible with maths off the fly now. Okay, so 2026, 27. Where are you, calculator? 2027 minus 1977 equals, it'll be 50 years. Next year will be 50 years anniversary of 2000 AD. That's crazy. Man, I hope they've got lots of things planned, and I hope they release a lot of stuff, because, one thing I said in Elasmet's stream today was that they really dropped the ball after the Red 3D, because it's like people like so hyped after that movie, right? Because it was just so magically done that it honored all the work that had come before it, and the adaptation was really great, and it included everything that made Dread. He kept the mask on, the helmet on. Actually, that should be darker. Is it dark enough? Okay, from this far. Yeah, that's about kind of, feel like it should be a bit more darker, but this goes to brown. Give me a gray. Let's try that one. No, this is the same color as the friggin' road. Let's go with this. Yeah. So because if they had been smart, they would have just basically put a whole bunch of like short 30-minute animated movies, whatever have you, like of each of the, like the top selling character, the top known characters, right? So they could go, well, hey, this is Judge Death. Actually, there is a Judge Death, I think, animated series or something. Let me see if I can find it. Or they could have just like not just Judge Death, a whole bunch of friggin' other, like Chopper. Man, Chopper was one of my favorite 2080 characters, right? And you could, if they made a 30-minute or 24-minute, right, single episode, pilot episode of Chopper, man, people would have eaten that up. And the reason for that is because Chopper is a dude who is like an anti-hero as well, where he flies around on like a, how you got a, here it is. This is the, like, this is what they should have done, right? 30-minute tunes of all their characters, and that would have like opened up people who were getting bored at that time of Marvel and DC, right? Of moving on to something that was a bit more exciting, a bit more interesting outside of the friggin' mainstream American comics, right? And British, well, this is one thing that British have really never really done, which is like put a lot of effort in behind 2080 comics, right? Characters and such. So this is you can watch this later, but I'll just play a little bit of this to the Judge Dredd Super Fiend cartoon. They needed to do this for Chopper, right? Rogue Trooper. It was supposed to be a Rogue Trooper movie. I don't know what the hell happened to it now, but a couple of years ago, and I looked into it, they were supposed to do that, and they never did. It's like, what happened to it, man? Let me see if I can IMDb the crap out of it and see if we can find out. Rogue Trooper. Right. Sean Bean and Haley Atwell were supposed to be in it. It was Duncan Jones was directing, and it's in post-production, supposedly. So which means it's been filmed and now they're editing it. Yeah, it's been 4 years. I think they've been talking about it for 4 years. But anyway, I'll play this little clip here, then we can go and look at the information about the Rogue Trooper movie. Is this a fan movie? Yeah, it looks like a fan anime.
Judge Sidney to control. I've got a sexual assault on my hands. I'm prepared to render the verdict.
Judge Sidney, remember that the maximum punishment for rape is 20 years in the ISO cubes.
That's it? The victim seems quite young.
You can add an aggravation of 5 years if the victim's a minor.
5 years. The victim is dead.
In that case,
The sentence is death.
Father.
I think I remember this. I mean, it's been a while since I watched it, right? So I think it was. And it's actually a good video. So I recommend watching it if you got stomach for it, because like Judge Death isn't like for everybody. But where was it? I don't think. I think it was a fan. Is it a fan? Yeah, it's actually 11 years old, man. Yeah, it was Eno Junqueira is the person who Angry Metal Company, right? So who's released it. It's been watched by 300,000 people. And this dude has only got 2.74K subscribers. And this is what, but his videos, you know, that alone got 300K. Most recent, oh wow, check out this. Actually, before I go there, check out this channel, because I think we'll talk about this more in depth on Friday's show, because that's what that Friday show is about new things and good things, right? Because I think we don't just celebrate good stuff enough, I guess. So here is the Metal Company, the Angry Metal Company YouTube channel. Go give them a subscribe or tell them we sent you. That also always helps, because in a way that's like you're kind of like networking in a sense. It's like, hey man, you know, I saw this over there that kind of enjoyed it, decided to come over, check it out. So adult and animated cinema, right? They've also got subscribe to a website. Let's go check out their website. But before that, so don't really know who these people are, but there's like they've got a video game directed by the same guy who did that video we just you know, had a look at. So there's so they've got a live stream and notify me 2 days. The same, let's say Tuesday for me. So in 2 days that'll be Thursday, I think. Wednesday, Thursday, yeah. So you got they got, so they're still active, so you know. It looks like these guys are based in Spain or maybe South America, I'm not sure, but yeah, lots of little animated things. But Super Fiend, I think, if I remember right, that's the one that it says 10 years. It's almost, well, it's 26. So I counted as, you know, 11 years. Okay. Let's check out that website. So, Angry Metal Company. This is their website. And so let's see, about. Maybe company would be the about, right? Oh yeah. So innovator, award-winning, creator-driven auteur, yeah, hand-drawn animation studio based in Spain. Yes, yeah, I thought it was Spanish. Spain, that specializes in adult-oriented animation. So its signature style is pollination of our native European sensibilities with Japanese anime, Saturday morning cartoons, nostalgic gaming, American lives, action cinema. Yeah, so they've worked with, wow, they've worked with some pretty cool big companies. Bootleg Universe, if I remember right, is Adi Shankar. He's the guy that did the whole the recent vampire series based on that old 80s or 90s game. What are they up to recently? Yeah, look. Workshop. What they got in the shop? Nothing in the shop, I guess. All right, let's get out of here. That's enough of that. Okay, but do check out that. They've got some live streams coming up, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully, I'm around for that because I don't know. I'll have to check back and see what time. Because usually I work from like about 5 in the afternoon till about 5 in the morning because it's really quiet at that time, sort of, kind of like, no, actually, no, it's around about 8 till 5 in the morning is when I work around, kind of on and off between that time period, because it's silent, like it's quiet, and I find the quietness helps you concentrate. But it's different when I'm coloring, right? So, you don't have to do too much concentrate too much when you're coloring. Or color flatting, I should say, not coloring. So this is what was supposed to be, like, here's what they're saying, like when I was saying like it's in post-production. So Rogue Trooper was one of my favorite characters. I actually I had a leather vest made up for me, patchwork, which are like bits of leather, and then I cut out white leather like this, and I had the lady who was doing the jackets and all that sewed it on there on the back of that for me. And then later I found, I went to work. I'd worked to work one day, and my workmate said to me, "Hey, Rogue is actually a name of a local gang member. That's his handle. That it's one of my uncles. Do you want to sell me this, and I'll give it to him as birthday present?" The thing was that I had saved so much, like $60 back then was like a day's worth of wage for me. Actually, maybe 3 days, because I was getting paid $6.50 an hour, something like that. I was only about 17, 18. And I had saved up and I had to pay it off and everything. Then I'd actually cut up the friggin' logo, and that had taken, a couple hours of my time and then all that. But I said, well, it was kind of, I was stuck between, I don't want to be wearing this kind of like this patch name, gang name on the back of my friggin' vest and be out there in my community and then somebody mistaking me for being a part of a gang. And I was like, yeah, you can buy it off me, but here, I need extra such and such for, I think in the end, it was like maybe $80 to $100 I sold it for. But to be honest, it was worth more than that, right? Because of time and effort I put into that. But so this movie is now in post-production, which basically means they're doing all the digitals, the CGI, right? Haley Atwell and Sean Bean, right? I wonder if is she playing Durham Red? Because she would look great as the vampire Durham Red, right? All you need to do is give her the red wig. or not even give her, just bleach her hair red. It would be just so cool. And she would fit it. I mean, I showed you guys what denim looks like. And of course, Sean Bean would look great as Rogue Trooper because, man, Rogue is just friggin' awesome. Let me show you what he actually looks like in a bigger bigger visual than just that, right? I don't even remember much about the character. I need to go back and read the comics, man. You know, just a mutant. It's just there's something about that just stuck to me, right? It was like that character just made me yeah. So here's this. They've got like this is the feature film and production for RogueTrooper.com. Let's have a look at this. This is like after Dread. This is a movie I'm looking really forward to because I really think they just should have done Dread 2 straight away. Like boom. All right. Because thing is like everybody's like, oh, we don't know who this character is. Like, well, this is who this character is. And now you get to, you know, for the first time you got to see him live on screen since, you know, since Sylvester Stallone way back in the 90s. And you're able to understand how amazing this character is. He's got a talking, he's got like a AI, you know, like a robot mode, like he can talk to his motorbike. Yo, come over here. And the motorbike drives up to him. Only he can use his gun, and his gun has so many things in it, like napalm, right? It can fire napalm shots. So they're talking about. I think this is to do with the cartoon, right? I guess. Is this from Rebellion? Who's the owner? Yeah, this is from Rebellion, right? Rebellion is like the owners of 2000 AD and all the characters and all that, right? So there you go. Rebellion name and logo of the 2000 AD name, character, and everything is the registered trademark of Rebellion. So this is 2026. So did that pop somewhere else? I got to set up so just it opens in the same thing. Let me show you this artwork from this page. If it'll come up. Not that one. Where's the battle? Here we go. This looks cool. While American kids were reading Spider-Man and Superman and Batman, I was reading this as a 10-year-old kid, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid. You know? Mutant space stories about war soldiers. This is what made me, because the one thing that drew me to, I guess, American comics, firstly was Valiant Comics, the original Valiant Comics in the late 80s, because I was able to buy them at my there was a secondhand store in another you know, a couple like a half an hour bus ride to where I used to go to study for my chef's course and my computer literacy course, whatever. Spreadsheets, I think it was spreadsheets. Yeah. And so there after I finished the course, I had about an hour or so, 2 hours to wait for the bus to friggin' arrive to take me back home to my town. And so I would just hang out in there until, shops closed, until the bus arrived and so on. And so I'd go and visit all the stores and listen to music, buy my cassettes, heavy metal music. And then I would, check out the stores, bookshops and stuff. And so I had forgotten for a long time that I actually used to own and read Valiant comics early, before even Marvel comics and DC comics, because they were there and they were accessible because they were in the, what was it, like spinner racks? Yeah, there were spinner racks there, right? Those metal spinner racks. And so I was able to look at it and go, oh yeah, I'll take this for $3 or whatever the price was at that time, right? And then or even just hang out there and sit on the couch and read it at the second-hand store, furniture store, which was where they had it. And this is what I think, this is the other reason why comics died the way they died, in a sense, that they haven't died, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they lost their place in the zeitgeist of people's minds, is because it took away the spinner racks. We'll publish it on our website. We'll publish it through this bookshops only. We won't send it anywhere else. And now they've got spinner racks back again, because they realized that they dropped the ball. I think there's this thing about like companies. Sometimes they go all in or nothing, right? Got to go big or not, or go big or go home, whatever they think. But sometimes in pop culture, you got to give people in pop culture aren't all the same. It's like me. I can't sit down for the life of me and play a Dungeons and Dragons game. I get bored so fast, man. It's or a video game. I've got an Xbox, and I've probably got like 50 or 60 games. I have a PS2 that I even opened up that my dad gave me because we were cleaning out his place, and there's like hundreds of CD-ROMs and stuff there, right? Game discs there, and like early versions, beta versions of games there, right? From the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But the moment I start playing a video game, my brain goes, you should be working, right? Go create some stuff, go write some stuff, go do some drawings, whatever, go some logo design, go do some coloring, because it's just, I just don't feel like this thing to waste time, because there's only so many years you have in your life. I'm at 53 now, right? I'll be 54 in about May 1st. And so at this stage, I know I lost 2 years of my entire life because of, as I mentioned earlier, about having to shut down my comic store and, lose that dream, job, vision, passion that I had all my life. Was, when I grow up, I'm going to have my own comic store. And I did. And then things happened, and at a time when they were like all new, all Marvel was like, and Convergence was destroying the comic industry with like crossover every 6 months, every 3 months, a mini crossover. You just can't keep up with that shit, let alone as a fan. You can't afford it, and as a comic store owner, you don't even know what's going to sell. So yeah, I lost 2 years of my life after that. From about 2016 to 2018, I did nothing but lie in bed because I have a back injury and neck injury, and like all I did was binge cop shows and stuff and movies, and that was it. So when I did come back, and I think it was like March 2018, yes, 2016, 2017, and then March 2018 when I came back, I was like, I have to give this everything and put all my effort in. So we spent 5 years running a convention, independent local convention, you know, anime and comic books and pop culture, whatever, for 5 years. All right, community run, volunteer, helped, you know. And then after that 5 years, I was like, I just got to put all my effort into my comics now. And what my only one dream I had in 2025 was to sit in the tree and write stories. And that was at film school. I was in the middle of my, like you get 3 years at film school, right? For my bachelor's degree. So 24 was year one, 25 was year two, 2004 was year one, 2005 was year two, 2006 was year three. So 2005, in the middle of it, my American tutor, media studies tutor, Dr. Karen Love, said to the whole class, right, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And my one thing was like, I just want to see myself under a tree in Fiji, you know, palm tree, whatever, with my laptop writing stories. And so when I came back to the real world and opened the door to my bedroom, you know, and stepped outside and decided, you know, it's time to just not mope anymore, not be a victim anymore of circumstance or whatever, and feel sorry for myself, and just involved and try everything and do as much as I wanted to do and not stop. And then people helped me do that. You know, a lot of great people helped me do that. One of them, segue here, was actually Rising Sun Comics, who's my publisher for our comics, who basically said, you know, because we had set up a long time ago, like back in 2010 or something, 16 years ago, in discussions of being part of the company, and I went through this very bad situation, and so I deleted my Facebook. Was it like my Facebook page that I had connections to everybody in comics, like, you know, like, I mean, like mainstream people were like followers, and I was their followers, and those were great times, right? If you're a comic book fan back in 2000s, it was a great time to be on Facebook, on social media, and be able to connect with artists and talk about, you know, how to, what is it called? Like, create comics, how to write better, how to shade book, you know, colors, and whatever have you. It was just great. You could talk to people. And then 5 years later, it was like nobody wanted to talk to anybody, and all the creators hated fans, and fans hated creators. And it's been like that ever since, sadly. And that basically led to what I'd say, I reckon, is the destruction of the comic book industry. Is when the comic companies and creators turned on the fans and stores. So, you know, so what happened was like, a lady named Tanya saw some of, you know, the logo, which is this, what I call the double F, right? This logo here, that I created this like in 2002, 2001, during a business course, and it's based on the eagle, right? The American eagle. So it's two Fs back to back, and I've seen other people use the Fs, but in recent years, because, you know, but this is the original design for that. and it's like what, 26 years. And so she saw that, and then it was Rising Sun. We just changed it to Oceania. It was like Rising Sun New Zealand, and so that sort of and you gotta get the black and white one here. We're gonna put it out in color again soon. Plus in 3 different languages: Spanish, Portuguese, and wait, no, is it Spanish, Portuguese? I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, I think it's Spanish, Portuguese, and English, because I want to try something with different, languages, adapting into different languages. So it's in black and white if you guys want to read it, but it'll be like, for $2.99, I think it is. It's got 2 short stories on this book anyway, A Robot Nation. It's a complete story, 2 complete stories in it. But you can get it. Let me get out of here. It's kind of like a teen plus book, that one. And of course, there's Incredible. And then there's a magazine here that we did, which is about 64 pages with about 40 pages of comic books, complete stories, not ongoings or anything like that. It's got like little short stories. There's like a 10-page story from the Purgatory series. This one's called The Bus. You got an 8-page, I think 8 or 6-page, no words, art, full art comic by my friend here, which is Shane Evans. Then you've got another like a 6 or 8-page story here, and there's cartoons and stuff and interviews. This was supposed to be back in 2020, right? This was supposed to be a crowdfund magazine, but COVID hit, and so I pulled it off Kickstarter. Yeah, and so by joining back up with Rising Sun Comics, I was able to get back into comics again. Otherwise, I'd be floundering on my own, because they helped me get artists to work with. They found artists to work with me, like this artist right here, James D. Hill, right? Work on this Templeton series. This page from issue 2, page from issue 1. Page from issue 2, page from issue 1. And here's the entire color flatted. Where is? Oh, sorry, I should have. Wait, did I go import? I know, I should go. Is it that one? Oh, what's the thing? So Cliffsview Paint just updated their to version 5, and it's weird because why is this? Oh, I just realized what happened. I'm looking at the color flats page and not the actual. Let me get away from this in case there's some younger people watching. So the story behind Templeton, right? It's about a dude who gets murdered and ends up in hell. And what we call in the planned universe, hellscape. And so once he's there, let me show you some cover art. Once he's there, nobody knows why, but he's basically allowed, right? He's allowed to work for hell and not be tortured on a torture rack, right? for whatever deeds he's done. And so this is a interconnecting. So let me carry on with the story. All right. So nobody know. All the demons are like, some of them are really pissed off as to why this one dude. Right. And I got to change his skin tone because I still think it's too dark. Right. And they're all are going like, why the hell is this dude allowed to roam free in hell and work for one of the bosses, one of the Dukes of Hell, Pacinta, right? And have such privilege, right? Why isn't he friggin', being tortured as a human and for whatever sins he might have committed or not? See if that looks better. Yeah, it's still a bit too light. He needs to have a bit of a tan. Where's the skin tones? How's that? It's a bit pink. Try this. Bit more tan. Yeah, that's still like I'm trying to look at two different monitors. Like I'm looking at my tablet, right? The Wacom here on my lap, and then at the TV monitor, which is where I'm streaming from. And between the two, it's got a weird, like, see, that looks red, right? So if I'm doing this, I don't want it to be red. I want it to be tan. But maybe, where are we here? So if I go there, maybe that might be, yeah. See, that's better. I don't want it to be him to be brown or caramel, right? So yeah, so this is, I'll go back to the story. Keep bouncing around, getting distracted by this. So that will be the skin tone, which means I have to go and redo 38 pages of skin tones, right? Like this one here. So get rid of that. So he's in hell. He's got this duty as a soul collector, right? So he starts as a soul collector. They're mandated, right, from the demon bosses or whoever's in charge to go out and collect the souls as it leaves their people's body, right? So this is Pacinta. He's a Duke of Hell. Wait. And this is the first time they show up, right? This introduction of them. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's a good skin tone. That's the right skin tone for him. So I got to go back and go through all of them and change the skin tone. And so they arrive to collect a soul, right? Of the 100 souls they've been told to collect, or whatever it is on their list of souls to collect for this outing. He starts noticing these triangular cuts on certain victims, right? So there's like, I mean, any given day there's murders around the world, right? So each of these, each Duke has their own little area that they got to collect these souls from. That's their date. That's their mandate, and that that basically means that they just got to do their job, right? So he starts noticing all these crosses, triangular slashes across the chest, and not only just females, everybody, like all types of victims, right? And he's going, what the hell's going on with this? Why are we seeing so many of this? And then they cut these souls to hell, and carries on. Those are going to heaven. The angels come to take those, right? And so that's why you get this interlocking. Yeah. So this is a 6-issue series, right? And we're almost completed all the artwork for issue 2. We haven't even released issue 1 yet, because I wanted to have 2 issues in my hand before releasing it fully completed. So this is all the issue A covers for all 6 A covers, for A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all connected to one big image, right? So it's like 3 up, 3 down image that completes it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll have these all connecting up, and so you'll have these lines going through them to separate the 3 different worlds. So you got the human world, right? You got the heavenly world, whatever have you, and then you've got the demon world, right? Still got to do some coloring on here with their golden wings. So that's the name of the title. And I've got mature readers, but yeah, I like this. I think this is better. See, that's too brown. I think, like, for this character, he looks too brown on his hands, and just didn't feel right to me when I was looking at it afterwards, like after having done the first issue and then move into issue 2, and thinking just not the right tone for this character. Did I get the rest of it? Oh yeah, I did. Same with this area here with the shadow shading, whatever. And also her skin tone is wrong as well, because this is of course Maori name for Mary, and her skin tone should be this tone, because that's who she is here. This is why the other thing is that, like, once you have all these things put in place, later you can come back and change them around, and make it work. There we go. And also with these characters here, I think they need to be a bit more lighter skin, like this. Where are you? Not lighter, but more golden skin, right? Like this for the angels, because our demons are like red, right? They're like blood red. These characters here, right? And I think for issue 1, we've got all the covers done. Let me see here. Let's get rid of that. Let's get that. Actually, let me select color selection. I've got it set at 5, but sometimes, just got to be check the tone levels. Sometimes might pick up other colors here. So let's see. Let's see what the difference is between these 2 colors, right? See that? So it's more golden now. See, that makes them a bit more ethereal. Is that the right word? Ethereal? Like something other, right? To give them the golden hair and that. So I might even go back later and give them a different shading of that. So she's in the front is a bit lighter. He's that color, and then her at the back is a bit darker, right? The other thing was I had their eyes a bit different as well, which is they're sort of like these blue eyes. So I had the males have purple eyes, and I was going to give the girls blue eyes, if I remember right. Oh no, purple eyes, sorry. So I got to go back and do purple eyes for everybody. Consistency. One thing I've noticed is like when you're working across a year or two over pages, you forget what you were drawing earlier, right? And so it's good to have your character in front of you, right? Sitting, like a drawing of that character right in front of you. So that's what they're supposed to look like when you're drawing them. And I realized this is where the color flatter comes in to make sure that they do the continuity right. Like here, right? I gotta go give him, he doesn't have blue eyes. He's got purple eyes. Because the demons in the story, in this world, in my world of Templeton, they have yellow eyes. Right? So here, I gotta make sure in the opposite of that, right? So you can see here that purple, yellow eyes. And then, so it gives you something like they're not normal people. Normal people don't have purple eyes, unless they wear contacts, of course, right? And the other thing is like the color, the color flatter is like almost an editor as well. And I remember Hawk from Plunge, not Plunge, sorry, Rises on Comics saying this on a stream once. It's like I was saying, oh man, sorry, there's a helicopter for the hospital flying overhead. So I remember like doing a live stream talking about coloring and comic pages and stuff, and Hawk was on there with me, and we are talking about this sort of stuff. And he said like, and my flippant thing, understanding of like having never colored pages before, right, was, oh yeah, it's such an easy job, you just got to pick a color, drop it in, and blah blah blah. It's not think. And then he said, no, dude, there's a lot more to it. And since I started coloring myself, I realized there's a lot to color flatting than just color flatting, right? Than just dropping colors in there, because a lot of times you're correcting mistakes or fixing little areas like joining, because because the artists are just drawing stuff, right? And sometimes they don't connect. So when you're color flatting, what happens is that if the lines are not connected, right? Like say here, see, if you look at this, that line's come across from the hair to the face. So as a color flatter, I got to go in there and go, okay, that might make it look wonky, close up, whatever, or even here, right? So I got to remove that because it's pencil marks from the blue, let's go, not blue, from the blue pen, right? Like the pencil marks, and then the ink's on top. Sometimes it comes across when you're doing the binarization, to get rid of all the white, right? So you can then color drop. Like, this is what I mean. So when you do the binarization, and thanks to the chat, because one of my friends, Chris, who's a Kiwi, who was watching one day, I was saying how I was having trouble figuring out how to do this because I am not a trained colorist, right? Or color flatter, whatever have you. I'm self-taught when it comes to art and stuff. And so, there's this like thing here. I'm not sure if this is going to show up on this. No, it's not showing up. Sorry. There's a drop-down menu from edit, and you go down to tonal correction, and there's another drop-down menu that says binarization, right? And that sort of like splits the colors apart, and so it'll be total white and then total black. So you can basically do a color selection right, from your select. So it's color, select color Gurmit. There's an Clip Studio I'm using, and you can just select that, and it'll go, and then you can, do your eyedropper to select the white, and that'll remove all the white, and then all you got is the inks. But it'll also, like you saw here, will leave some pencil marks, and so you got to clean that up. And this is where the job of the colorist comes in, to tidy up some some things that the computer leaves dustings of, right? Because it's just the way it is. It doesn't catch everything, right? Not like, kind of a bit like Pokemon, got to catch them all. So that's the duty of, like here, right? That's the duty of a colorist or a color flatter, whatever, to, fix things up. Because, I mean, nobody's going to notice it, but I'm very pedantic about certain things. Because really, when you really think about it, this is how big this page is going to be when you go to read it. So you're not going to notice a lot of little thing that's sticking out here like this. I mean, not that much, right? It's just a little bit like that. But, I like a tidy page. So this dude, this is basically like a detective type supernatural horror story, right? Because you got this, is it this one? That one. So you got this dude, you can say he's the captain, and then you got the rookie, whatever, with Templeton, his assistant, whatever have you, the two guys in the cop car, and they got to do their duty, which is bring home the souls, and so on, back to hell. Those are allocated for hell, right? And so he's got to, do his job, but he's noticing these things happening, and happening on Earth, where there are too many bodies showing up with these marks on them, right? Basically, it's like this, triangular marks. It's the helicopter's distracting me for a bit. Sorry. This is why, like I say, like I like working at night, so that like there's no sort of like sounds distracting me from things, because I get, with my head injuries, I get easily distracted. So let's listen to music for a bit while they drop off the injured. So I've been working on, like, I've been writing music. Actually, what I should say is I've been writing lyrics, and then using them into these free, what is this called? This is Mureka AI, and basically going in there and putting my lyrics in, and then as I play them, right, as it's playing, I'll go in there and rewrite the lyrics that don't work. So this is the third version of the Beast Runs Wild. Actually, might be the fourth version, because I actually had to change the different style of music I wanted as well, and because all the music that I create in here, right, that for my lyrics, I create them in a way that, like, they're not, what is that called? They're not inspired by any other music, band, singer, musician at all, right? So it's just me choosing certain prompts, like you can see here. There's no bands are mentioned in this. I say, like, style of my own choosing words, right? Stuff like you'll see here, sludge comes up about 2 times, right? Then you got grind, stoner, deep. All these things actually help towards making the sound that I want for my particular song. So this is since we're talking about, like, Templeton, this is The Fire Rises. I think this is the last version I did. It's interesting how taking the words up, these words here that I put in, the AI is able to come up with the words. I mean, regurgitate that, chew it up, code it out, and then finally say, this is the music that suits these words, and then give me a visual for it, which I don't use, right? It's just interesting seeing the visuals they use for it. Apologies there. I was just going to show you to do with the different, stuff. So I've just been doing a whole bunch of songs here and just putting it out there. It's about 5 songs. And you can't download them until you have a subscription. So I'm not going to download them until I have at least 10, 20 songs on here. And then I'll download them all at once. Because it'll just cost me $15, right? For a month's subscription, I can download all the songs in one go. There's something that Lars Ulrich never understood about Napster, right? Even though now, Metallica's on friggin' what is it called? Spotify, right? And his music is on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on everything you could think of online. Metallica has a clip of it on there somewhere. 5 seconds, 2 seconds, minute, the whole song. It's there. And but Lars had to go and destroy his own band's name by fighting it, in the 2000s, was it, with Napster, which was like a forerunner to online music. So this is oh yeah, you get 50 credits, right? So it's 10 credits per song. So you can put out 4 songs they'll put out 2 songs for every time you versions of every time you click create. So I've been using free credit to do that. So here's actually, let's do the version 3 female voice of The Fire Rises. Isn't that weird? It's like, even though I think I might have I must have pushed the male song male instead of I wanted to be female, so I must have pushed the male one for that. But here's the other thing. I want to show you guys another, and if you're learning how to play music, I want to show you another where is it? Another site where you could turn music into sheet music and tablature. So let me see, which songs did I do? Which is my favorite song? I think it was 6 Foot Under, which is what I played first, right? I think with the in the intro. So check. I'll play a bit of 6 Foot Under again to show you. But what I actually want to show you guys is there's a website called Guitar to Tabs, right? Where you can turn your the music you create, right, into chords and tablature. So I'll show you guys there in a minute, but just play I'll show you so this is what I find interesting because it'll spew out 2 songs, right? 20 credits used, 10 credits per song. So this one was it kind of sounds like typo negative, I guess, but maybe not. Because the lyrics are here. So let me see if we can find the female version because I actually like the female for the songs I write. I like the female voices, even though all my years of listening to metal, I've never liked female vocals on metal. But which is again like my particular taste is that like if I'm writing comics, I don't want to read comics, right? If I'm creating comics, I'm going to go read friggin' manga and watch anime, right? Because it's not what I'm doing. So I want something different, and I think it's like a lot of creative people do that. I know like lots of metalheads listen to classic music, pop music, dance music, trance, right? Techno, because it's more helpful to be listening to other stuff than the same stuff that you're creating, because then that way you're not getting influenced by other bands. That's why I don't like reading comics that much. But then again, mainstream comics is, you know. But let me see if this is, what is this one? Is this the same one? It's not. Same song, same lyrics, just a different prompt. This is not this prompt here. Is that cool or what? And this is just me using prompts, not saying, "Hey, let me make my song sound, take my lyrics that I wrote and make them sound like this band with this vocalist." Right? I just ignore all that, and I don't even want to use that, and I'm never even, you know, like it's so boring to hear the same fucking AI songs. Oh, here's another Metallica song. If Metallica did this song, this is what it sounded like. Like, no, I like the I like to be able to create. If I'm going to use it, it's going to be Tool, right? So there's one called. So that's a song called Midnight. Same lyrics, different prompts, right? Different song. See, once again, none of them have like are made to sound like any other bands. They're not just like, oh, make it sound like Megadeth when it was doing this, or make it sound like Guns N' Roses in the '80s. So here's the. Let me show you the song, and then I'll show you the tabs to guitars to tabs site. You can check out later. But here's this right. This is I played this at the intro, right? And I'll just do the first couple of beats to show.
Pamela.
So So you had that right? So where did I put it? Hold on. Is it there? Guitars and tabs. Where's my home base? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? No. Where are you? Hold on. This is the side. Am I not logged in? Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm not logged in. My songbook. Is it in my songbook? Yes. All right. So check this out. Get back on the stream. So, whoops. Go away, you. Come back here. So this is guitar to tabs. All right. Did I put the link in the chat yet? No, I haven't. So copy paste .com. Oops. Because I was asking Grok, saying like, hey man, how do I turn this music that I've created, right, into actual playable chords? Because I'm all about like hoping that somebody will pick up these songs and go, man, that sounds cool. Okay. How do I play it as a real thing? So wait. Oh, there it is. I was saying, where's 6 Foot Under? So open sheet. So this is that same song I played, right? Just before. And this is the notes for that. Look at the bass, because I asked for bass, right? I could ask for guitar and it'll give me it. But, and I actually tried to play this on my bass. I had, I got to restructure this so that I can make this at the top of the neck, not at the bottom of the neck, right? After the 12 string. I got to, because I found it like I couldn't, because I'm a hobbyist, right? I'm not like a full-on professional bass player. But watch the chords here. Is this, let me see, I'm not sure if you guys are, is it actually zooming in? Right, it is. So, and this is what I mean, like AI should be a tool, right? And not just friggin' consume, root copy, paste, make money, right? So here's that right. Here's the first. It gives you like 30 seconds of it for free, but you got like, if you upgrade, it's like, I don't know, it's like $30 or something. So you can describe, you can have more than one instrument, right? Multiple instruments, arrangements, chord changes and stuff, drop D, whatever. For us grunge fans, right? Metal fans, because we like the right? So it's A sharp minor, isn't that what that is? That sharp. So you could basically change the chords, because now that you know what the structure is, to make it easier if you're a singer or a player, you know, a musician, to whatever works for you. Is that cool or what? Being able to turn that friggin' AI song using my lyrics and, you know, my style of what I wanted it to sound like into chord structure that you can actually learn to play, right? and this is for the base, right? So let me see if I can, if it'll help me actually go back to 6 foot. Open. Let me, where is it here? There you go. Thank you, baby. There we go. Let's do multiple. Let's retranscribe. That's going to take 3 minutes while it's doing that. So at the, man, that's a huge on a single. No, what's got that big there. So oh yeah. So this is my script, right? So for the scene. So this is page 24, and this is what I had opened before, showing where I was doing that car scene, right? So there's the car scene there, and then they were walking up the stairs, right? And then you got the thing. So last week, if you're part, you know, if you're in the indie comics, you would have seen this whole thing about a person since 2020 who was signed on to be a freelance contract to whatever it was, like some sort of contract to write a script that another studio publisher, whatever have you, was going to turn it, you know, draw it and put it out as a comic book on Kickstarter and stuff. But no, in the end, there was like really no script was ever given, right? Create. Like there was like no finished script. There was like pages and pages and pages of details, character references and stuff. There was no script, right? Final script. This is what we're going to work on, right? So before I even, like, we've been working on this project since 2022, right? The rewrite was in 26. This is when we actually said, okay, now we're going to start, you know, now we need to start drawing these pages. So you can see here, right? There's an old script to this. It's like a movie script, I think, if I remember right. Is it a movie script? Oh yeah, this is this is second draft, right? And it was just called Templeton the Soul Collector, right? So how many words are on this? Let me do a word count. Format. Wait. Is that way? All right, hold on. Tool, word count. Option, what do we get? Yeah. Hold on. Select all. Edit. That might be better. Yeah, select all. 18,000 words. 18,159 words are on this one file, right? This is an older file. When was this? I don't even have a date on. Usually I have a date on these damn things, right? So 100. Oh yeah, here we go. 99 pages. That's an hour and a half movie. That's how I write a 6-issue comic book, right? So I wrote this as a 90-page comic book movie first before turning it into a comic book. Let's see if nope. Am I title page? No. I thought that title page might have a bit some information. But so yeah, revised in 2025. Is there? Yeah, domains of hell, Templeton's family, all this information, right, is there. So, but here's your 6 issues. All written in 2022. When I decided to turn it into a comic book, had to go through and work through that. But however, even earlier this year, I had to, because my artist is, you know, drawing it now, right? I had to go in and go, hey, don't save that because I didn't make any changes. He was like, okay, so now that we're up to here now drawing this characters, who is Florence the Devil? who is Lily L? And I had to go back and read it and go, oh, I haven't read the script since like 2 years ago, so I had to go and overlook it and go, oh yeah, this is what it was supposed to be. What was I thinking 2 years ago, right? That's why you have like little notes for yourself, right? References, extra text. What are you talking about, right? Little information. Have the old scripts there because you might have said something in those old scripts that you didn't include in the new script, right? And the other thing is, sometimes I guess you can chop and change, but you can't, with the script. But you got to have the friggin' damn script first. I don't understand how. And this was a silly thing about this. There's the thing about like I have worked with other writers, right? And I have worked with writers who've wanted to do writing, right? And who wanted me to write a movie for them. And I did. And they didn't like it. I'm like, I don't even, you told me what to do and I've done it. Now I can do 2-3, changes to it, drafts to it, but tell me what you want. I wrote a 90-page comedy movie for a dude about cricket, the game of cricket, right? And that went nowhere. And I don't even know if I've still got it somewhere on my wait. Oh, darn it. Hold on. Where's the guitar? Wait, what? Hold on. Do I have to? I wanted the friggin'. Oh, wait, is it? It looks like it's changed the structure. Anyway, so we'll get back to that in a minute. And so, having dealt with people like that, I decided that I really didn't want to work with people on their work when it came to writing stories and stuff. I'm just like, let me do my own crap, right? I will just create myself. I know how this stuff works, so I will write it and I won't work it for other people. But I have been asked to write for other people. You take somebody's idea, they tell you what they want, and you go, all right, I'm going to flush it out. I know what you want to do with this, and I'm going to put it together. And then I'm going to, we're going to like hash it out until I'm happy with it to send it over and say, hey, what do you think now? And then you come back to me as, whatever, with the agreement and go, all right, so this character isn't doing what I wanted. And I envisioned, or this character here, or whatever. Can you change this or change that? There is a time limit that you got to set. And you also got to set how many revisions you want to do. And usually it's 3. Right? Standard revision is 3. You can't forever go on and on and on and on for 6 years or 5 years without there being a whatever it is script in your hand, whatever it's about, right? Whatever story. It's weird, like listening to, because I'm schooled, right? I'm professionally schooled in film writing, like writing a film, like a movie. I've self-taught to write comic books. I've self-taught myself to write plays, like stage productions. I've self-taught myself to write skits, right? Like a 5-10 minute little, stage plays, short stories, right? But I was already doing that before I went to film school to learn how to be a filmmaker, right? And a film writer. And I think a lot of people in indie comics just don't spend that time to learn And because they are lazy or don't have time or whatever the hell, right? In the end, it's just laziness, right? Because there's enough educational videos online right now. YouTube, you can just enter YouTube and go, hey, how do I write a comic book? What's the structure, right? And there's somebody out there who's a legend, who is educated, who has spent their entire life, right, writing scripts, will be able, who has a video out there. You can even ask freaking Grok, right? What's the structure for writing a comic book? And you can even put your freaking story into Grok or whatever and ask it to paste it to comic books, which I did like about 3 years ago, I think, with the story that I'd written, because I just wanted to see what it would do. And I don't think it was ChatGPT, and I don't use that shit. It's total shit, ChatGPT. It's the people who run it are gross. Recently, it came out that this dude was going to do some dangerous stuff, and the moderators actually told their higher ups at ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT just turned off his account. Didn't even go to the police to say, hey, we've got someone who's dangerous and is looking up all these dangerous things, how to hurt people. No. And then the dude went and basically did some stuff. That's ChatGPT for you. I learned that about 3 months ago, about how it doesn't give you what you've asked for. And I don't mean like illegal stuff. I mean like news. Give me news that's in print, that's on the news channel, and it'll like skirt around it. So I've just said, nah, I'm not using ChatGPT. So, you can use these tools to help you, but in the end, it's up to you what you do with it, right? So for me, I was like, okay, here's a story about this. I got this little short. Let's see what you can do with this. And then I realized with AI, it's only a tool. It's nothing more than a tool. Also, I'm very, when it comes to AI, or anything, right? When it comes to my artwork, when it comes to anything I create, I'm very jealous of my shit, like really jealous. So I don't want to give anybody credit that doesn't deserve credit on my work, and when people work with me, I give them credit, right? And so they get the credit if they worked with me, right? But I don't I would never use AI to write a story for me, because I'm very precious about my stories. I'm very jealous about what I create, right? And the design work, even the design of my characters, I go out there and design it myself. I'll get photos and stuff, references for my artists to look at and go, this is what I want. Yeah, but like this, like that, like that. I won't even put that into the AI and go, hey, turn this into this, take all this and make something with it. No, because I'm very jealous of my creations. My precious, Gollum with the ring. So let's go back and oh yeah, and that's the thing, right? So just because you write something doesn't mean it has to be turned into a story, or like into a comic book, or into a book, into a movie, into whatever. Sometimes it can just be there just for you, and that's okay. You don't really have to share it with the world, but if you want to share it with the world, then share it with the world, and and expect people not to like it, or hate it. That's what happens with art. Not everybody's going to accept it, but the hope is that somebody might, and they might tell their friends, and they might actually pay for it, right? So let's look at this guitar to tabs. What's the time? Right. Okay, here we go. It's almost 3 hours, I think. So let's see what's done to this. Like, because I said I want, oh yeah, so it's going to generate it. Let's see what's, so this was the original, right? Let's see what's done with the generated art. I mean, generated sound. Right, so this is the bass. Isolated bass. Is that cool or what? So it's taking the bass out of this, right? This is with the entire song, entire melody, whatever you want to call it, intro, and with the bass, right? Wait, what did you do to me? Oh, I see what you mean. Went over the time zone. I was like, why is it locked? There you go. And then the bass again, so you can just see the difference, like when it isolated the bass on its own. It's crazy, man. Like, this is what I mean. Like, it's a tool, right? And here you can actually learn to play that song that I wrote, that I had, you know, Mureka II, based on my own prompts and not to do with any other person's art, you know, music style or anything. Because I just said, oh, this is what I want, you know. And I love the song. It's like really cool. Everything's about this just came out really well. But just to see the bass that's been, it's just, you know, it's just to see that. I think that's the thing, like a lot of people get hung up about that, not actually trying to be creative. They're just regurgitating the shit that's already out there, right? Oh, make it like Iron Maiden, make it like you know, make it like freaking Pink Floyd or what have you. And rather than just going, here's what I'm thinking musically in my head, you know, take that, here's the lyrics, use these lyrics to make a song with a female singer, not like any other female singer around, right? Human singer around, right? Just do it, you know, just put a female voice to it, to these lyrics. And that's, I think that's why, like I say, it's a tool. And I think, and unlike any other band, right? Any other musician or anything, there's this bridge, right? There's this, I think it's about here somewhere. It plays out twice. Let me just turn down this volume so until I can find it. This is my favorite part of the song musically, right? The whole song, I love this whole song, but like it's one of my favorite songs, but that I created, right? And wrote, I should say. So this part here was like, I love the sound of this. It reminds me of like the part in Rusted Cage. I'm gonna take my rusted cage. I'm gonna break my rusted cage and run. So it goes and run. Dun, 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 dun. That's from Bad Motorfinger Soundgarden album, which actually was the album that got me into when that was released, into Soundgarden. It's such a friggin' atmospheric music, like, and then like, of course, I clipped together these videos, these two 60s black and white videos, movies, I should say, to go with it. So it's the two movies in there are from where are we? It's the bottom. Yeah, so it's from The Uninvited 1944 and The Innocents 1961. Yeah. And that is us at three hours in. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Impromptu. Thought I'd just, whatever. Wherever you are, be well, be safe, and hopefully you got something out. Maybe you want to try, go watch Bob, which was, where was it called? God, the Devil, and Bob. This is here, the links for that there. Maybe go follow our Plunge NZ page. Of course, also follow the all ages Kickstarter comic that we're going to be putting out, issue 2 Incredigo. Thank you for everybody who was hanging out watching. Of course, there is the Judge Dredd Superfiend video as well. The link is in the chat. I think this is the one here. And also, we looked at Road Trooper movie. There's an animated movie supposed to be coming out with that. And do go visit risingsunpublishinggroup.com shop/shop to check out our stuff and many others, by the way. There's so many independent creators with their books on there. Oh, and before I go, this weekend, there is and we've been promoting this all week, the last couple of weeks, because they're friends of ours are running it, and also, where are you? Here we are. Boomtown Comic Con is on this weekend. Please, if you're able to, if you're thinking about it, take the whole family to it. It's in Texas. Good old country. Cowboy country, I guess you want to call it. Do go check it out. Do a day visit, whatever it is. If it's close by, even if it's not close by, make a weekend of it. All right. There's a link in the chat. boomtowncomiccon.square.site is their website. Of course, they're also on Facebook. Lots of good stuff there. It's run by locals and lots of guests and so on. And also, it's helped by the local business community there as well, because they believe in providing something for the family to do and for kids, So yeah, quite excited about that, because it's the second year that we in New Zealand are going to be represented in America, Texas at this event, because it happened last March. I think it was last March or April, and now it's happening again. So 2 years in a row. And yeah, please spread the news out about it. Grab the link and share it. Help them out. More people that are, if you know anybody, you've got family in Texas, you got friends in Texas, in that area, right? That great big state. Let them know. Let them know. Maybe they don't even know, right? So let them know that's happening, and get the word out. It's on this weekend on what? How many days is it from now? It's Tuesday for me. So, right, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 3 days away. I guess 4 days away for Americans. Anyway, thank you for watching on Twitch, for watching on X, and of course here on YouTube. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Help the algorithm show people what we're doing. And more than anything, have an awesome night, evening, day, wherever you are. Ka kite anō. catch you on the flip side. Be well and be safe.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.